What's up, witches? It's me, Luna. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I want to show you something. Looky, I've got a new cooker. It is a cooker. It's one of these things that is for like the wax melts or essential oils and stuff. But A, I can't do paraffin wax, so I can't do those pre-made wax melts. B, so many essential oils are not good for cats and you have to be very careful. And I don't really do essential oils, but what I do, see this? This is frankincense resin, and this cooker has a little silicone thingy, so it's not going to stick. It hasn't quite been as fragrant, and I haven't quite got the guts yet to put it straight onto the plate, but frankincense actually is an antidepressant. But isn't it pretty? All right, now onward. I am here actually today to do an unboxing for you, and this deck is a birthday present from my wonderful sister-in-law Denise, and she did not choose this deck, but she gave me birthday money, and this is what I did with it, and she knew what I'd do with it, just not specifically. So this is the Bianco Nero Tarot by Marco Proietto. U.S. Games, as you can see by the little fool. There's Justice. I love the images already. And I mean, when you're looking at it from far away like that, and it just reads, bang, you see exactly what that image is. I like that. Bianco Nero, black and white tarot, blends the classic iconography of Visconti tarot, with modern hand-drawn ink illustrations inspired by antique engravings and woodcuts for a truly timeless look. Includes 44-page booklet with a custom goals spread. Cool. Okay, so I want to look at the little U.S. Games assigns every deck this little code item number. So Bianco Nero is BN78. The 78 tells you it's a tarot deck. I love the system. Anyhow, here is our LWB, which is a little white book, if you were wondering. And this is the artwork is Marco Proietto, and the text is Arwen Lynch. I cannot pull out of the top of my head the other decks that I have that Arwen Lynch authored, but I have several. This is copyright 2018. And let's see how long. It's kind of a lengthy introduction. Let's see if we can hit the first and last paragraphs. Bianco Nero, black, okay, blends the Visconti. That's what it says on that side panel. Blah, 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 blah. This style of line drawing was inspired by Gustave Doré's antique engravings and Albrecht Dürer's woodcuts. I love Albrecht Dürer's art. All right. The representation of the symbols of the suits is different on each card. In the case of swords in particular, the symbol never repeats itself. The setting, the landscapes, and the characters' clothes, as well as the tools, are taken from the iconography of classic decks, revisited to look neutral and ageless. The same care was used both for the drawings, of both major arcana and those of the minor arcana, as no card is more important than another from an aesthetic point of view. That's absolutely accurate. And that takes away the argument of, really shorting the suits and going pippish. Okay. The design on the back of the cards is symmetric in order to not to reveal the direction of the cards. Okay. The 8-pointed star. All right, at the center of the back design, there's a circle that symbolizes the centrality of the major arcana. The 8-pointed star in the middle has a long history as a symbol of spirituality and prophecy. A floral decoration with roses and thorns surrounds the circle. The symbols of the 4 elements in the corners indicate the 4 suits of the minor arcana. So, and I love it because it is reversible. Whichever way you're looking at it, you've got air and fire and water and earth. Okay. These are designed to be readable independent of the direction of the card. Bianco Nero Tarot is the culmination of an artistic path that combines studies on the human figure, art history, life drawing, and anatomy at the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome, with the study of etching at the School of the Art of Metal Making. creating illustrations that seek both to have an artistic value and to be functional in tarot reading. I love that we get that background on Marco Proieto, because yeah, I mean, wow, that's quite a CV. Then we go straight into the majors, and for each card we have an upright, reversed keywords, and then we have a paragraph. And when we get to the minors, we just have a little blurb about what the minors overall represent, and then same thing, upright, reverse, little paragraph. When we get to the back, we have the black and white goals spread. What has been written, your goal in your relationship to, okay, we'll go back to that if we choose to do that reading. Now, come closer, so you can get a little bit of a closer look. The vines are very natural and thorny looking, as you know, contrasted with these really stark, hard black and white geometric. So here we have the facing card, the title card that comes with all US Games decks. Here's about the artist. Born in Rome, Italy in 1982. He obtained a high school diploma in 2001 at the Primo Liceo Artistico School of Rome. Studied at the Accademia di Belle Arti of Rome. Okay, he was admitted to the Istituto Poligrafico e Zecca dello Stato, whatever that is. Deep in depth engraving, sculpture techniques, graphic designer at a publishing house. Yeah, he definitely comes with the cred. And, you know, you don't really need that anymore. These days, if you produce a deck and it's beautiful and people get it, you're there. But I do appreciate when you see, because you can see it in the artwork. You know, he's been trained in engraving. So look at the folds in the coat here. And since, you know, when I think of Albrecht Dürer and I look at these fine, fine cross-hatching lines for the shading, Albrecht Dürer's line work is very fine and so very detailed. And just because they're stark black and white, there are so many shades of gray. Things are very subtle. You can see kind of the cut of his belly muscles there. And the dog. Obviously the Fool. There's nothing missing here, even down to the little flower. And the Magician. I love that we're looking at him kind of close up and he's looking off to the side. You have all of the tools. You have the Ouroboros around his neck. So the black and white has really allowed him to distill the images that are familiar and necessary. And there's the veil, BJ, yes, Torah. Obviously a very talented person. Look at this. Isn't she gorgeous? It's kind of like we've stepped into, you know, the Waite Smith deck, even as colorful as they are, but they've got those static, you know, cartoony kind of colors. But you step in here and you see this living, breathing woman, even though she's in black and white, very close, you know, down to their shields. Oh, I'm finding the artwork really, really appealing and attractive. And here's the Hierophant. Stern. Oh, and then we go look at the lovers rather than just standing there looking at each other. I am so happy to see a lover's card that shows lovers, you know, that attraction. This gives you that visceral feeling of, you know, the bonding that they're feeling. It takes me into a whole other place, you know, the academic meaning of lovers, you know, the attraction principle and soulmate stuff, but this one really brings that visceral desire and that boundaryless, you know, absorption between lovers. I can't find the right words. I hope you got that. Here's the Chariot. He is holding reins. That's interesting. Okay. Strength. I love the clothing that he's putting on them. And I love that while we have this fine, fine cross-hatching, I mean, it's super fine. If I could zoom it in for you, I would, but I can't. When we get to hair, we're using the broader strokes, you know, those engraving. Oh, I love it. I just love it. I could look at each one for a long, long time. Here's the Hermit with the 6-pointed star there, the Wheel of Fortune. I love the people on either side of the wheel, and we certainly have the 4 fixed signs. Here's Justice. And way to go, US Games. Another really, really worthy deck, and this was on the box, but look at the artistry here. I've always been fascinated by sculptures that show a form draped in really thin fabric. There's one, I don't know whose it is, but it's a veil over a face, and it's carved out of marble. It's just beyond me. And we see that here. We see the form through the drapery. Here's the Hanged Man. The rays around his head really stand out. I mean, it's this white background, so very talented. Very talented artist. There's the Death card. Wow. This, I mean, what a wacky looking sickle. It sure is big. Scythe, sickle scythe. Here's Temperance. Again, the flowing draperies. Here's the Devil. Oh, this is awesome. Look at the horns. Look at the snake for a tail that's kind of being very suggestive of another sort of tail. And the wings and the, oh, wow. That's gorgeous. Here's the Tower. Very dynamic. You would think that just black and white would lend itself to really static images, but they're not. The Star, that's very familiar looking. And this reminds me of the Cosmic Tarot, just because of that, you know, Norbert Lusch uses points for shading, and Marco uses cross-hatching. Very fine, fine lines. Look at the sun. Look at the character in these faces. You know, they're real faces. They don't look very happy. I don't understand why. Here's Judgment. I love the way it looks like they're kind of being lifted out of the graves. And there's the World. So we have the 4 fixed signs. She's holding the 2 wands and not a lot of other distraction. These images are wonderful, wonderful. Here's the Ace of Wands and the 2. So again, very familiar. And I like that we see them up close under the canopy, and they're both holding little bouquets of flowers. This gives me more of a sense of striving than competing. You know, they're not really, it looks like they're all coming in with their wands in order to construct something rather than fighting against each other. Maybe that, I think that's just my interpretation, but. And look at the Victory card where he's kind of coming more towards us rather than just straight across. This deck, I feel like it really pulls me in to the images. Look at the 7. It focuses on the people. And I really like that. And I can see what's going on with the people. You know, you don't see that whole scene. You see the wands coming in from the side, and he's just like, you know, kind of reminds me of Lord of the Rings, when Aragorn goes to face the orcs. First he's holding up his sword like this, like, bring it. And there's the 8. Again, very familiar. I love the kind of, what do they call it? Contrapposto? The sort of shift balance belly muscles. I just love it. And here's the 10. See, it doesn't look like he's struggling with that load. Page. I love the belts. The Knight. Ooh, he's great. Look at how flamey his draperies look. Here's the Queen again, up close. Hello, Leo Mama. Glorious. And here's the King. Look how he's almost kind of petting this lion's head from the throne. Wow. I love the staff. So the style, I mean, the images are so very familiar, but the style that he's brought in, and there's her kitty. I was looking for her kitty and I didn't see it the first time. The images are very familiar, but he's bringing in such style, such a cohesive style. There's the little salamanders. And the cups, the dove with the host. Again, rather than just seeing a couple faces, I mean, they're really leaning into each other. And look at this, how things are positioned. You see the caduceus here with the winged lion at the top. It looks like coming out of the tops of their heads and just intertwining with each other. 3, look at them. Again, the drapery. Can I put a text bubble? Harumph is what that would say. And the 5. And again, they have people more facing us. So I really feel like we're, being brought into the images. This is interesting. Just the posture, the expression on the face of, I'm going to give you something very special. There's the 7. Certainly readable contents of each cup. Here's the 8. And again, he's walking straight away from us. There's just a directness. There's the 9. And the 10. I love the people. Here's the Knight. So even the direction that the knights are heading, very consistent, the way the kings and queens are facing. Look at the mermaids on her throne. It's just beautiful. Look at the ship. And the octopus. And here are the swords. It's like coming up out of a cloud. There's the 2 with the blindfold. And the waxing moon. Oh my. How interesting. Look at this. I'm not sure what this is up here. This background, and then it's just black. One could imagine blood. The 4 of swords. The 5. I mean, even down to the stained glass window with the mother and child. The 6. Okay, so wait, I want to go back a second because he talked about the symbol not being repeated ever. So here are the swords. And we can see that in each card, the swords are different. I forgot to pay attention to, like, the wands. I mean, yeah, I suppose that's, yeah, the wands are pretty much wands. But the swords being, well, the cups are man-made too. Hold up. Let's just take a look at the cups. Obviously, this card, the 9 of Cups, there are 9 completely different cups. And they're pretty different there too. Okay. So yeah. Interesting. There's the 7, the Thief. The 8 with the second blindfold. I love this. The 9 10. Those oppressive dark clouds. There's the page, ready to swing. Here comes the knight. Rawr. I just love the human figures. The way he renders, it's beautiful. How did I never notice the butterfly on the King of Swords throne before? We've got the waxing and waning crescent moons. We've got 2 women, and we've got a butterfly. Now I want to pull out like all my decks and take a look. And here come the pentacles. The 2. He looks like he's in the water, and the boats are getting tossed. And then there's the 3. You only see one person, though. This is a little different. That he doesn't have like his feet on the pentacles. There's the 5, the 6. Weighing out who gets what. The pentacles are all, well, they're slightly different. Those have leaves. There's the 8. The 9. Oh, so beautiful. And the 10, the page. Can guys just start dressing like this? You know, just wrap a piece of cloth around your hips and belt it in. The knight that stands still. Here's the queen. And the king. I love when someone takes the familiar and just brings a new little something to it. And that's the feeling I have with this deck. It feels like an old friend that's got some new ideas. I mean, I feel like that was a long flip through, but there's a lot to comment on. You know, I found myself having reactions. All right, let's, oh crap, do I have, yeah, I got it. Let's give it a blessing. It's kind of like when somebody, you know, an artist decides to cover a song made famous by the original artist. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. And I always get kind of bummed when someone goes to the trouble to do it, but just basically reproduces the original. It's like, why bother? If you can't bring something new to the conversation, leave it be. By water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole. Let's give the book a little blessing too. And by the sound of the bell, a little bit more. Sorry. May the spirit awaken. Guides and guardians, allies and ancestors. Thank you for being here. What do you think of this deck, you guys? Let's get a good reading out of it. I offer you fresh water and the fire of Azrael, and I offer me fresh water. All right, let's give her a shuffle. I don't have any misgivings about it. Yeah, it shuffles like a US Games deck. You know, I used basically one main deck for 30 years of reading, and it's grungy, but it's still just fine. This kind of cardstock is always gonna work. All right, let me give it a couple more cuts and riffles, and then let's get a reading. I don't think I'm going to go with the goals reading. I think I'm going to do just a general. And specifically, with Denise in mind, and also for the collective. All right. What do we need to know right now? Let's just do like a 6 card. Okay. Do we need to know? All right, they're telling me that's it. We have the Nine of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, and the Six of Pentacles. So intuitively, let's just go intuitively, then I'll go to the book. Nine of Pentacles is about having your own space, being alone and at home in your garden, and having enough resources to take care of yourself well and to live a wonderful life. Five of Cups in the middle here is loss. Feeling loss and focused on that loss. There's a reminder that two cups remain, but right now the focus is on what's been lost rather than what remains. And the Six of Pentacles is about payment, offering, charity, support of a financial nature. But the scales there with the pentacles in it says we weigh out and measure where the money goes. And you look at, instead of other people, we just see these hands lifted up like this. So deciding with, having what you need for yourself in abundance, where then does it go otherwise? All right, let's go to the book and read. Because these are not huge entries for each card, I think we can read them all. The Nine of Pentacles says success, good investments, luxury, nobility, self-reliance. The reversed is indulgent, bad investments, losses in social standings. The Nine of Pentacles presents a woman who confidently takes care of herself. At her age, she can depend on her own finances. She holds a hunting bird which carries her own desires and goals. Her vineyard is rich with grapes as well as coins. Her goals right now are enjoyment and rest. She has worked hard for what she has. Arwen, thank you. This is excellent writing as ever. I offer this incense to you there, lady. And let's look at the Five of Cups. Grief, separation, blocking connection, alone. And reversed is healing self, accepting loss. The figure in the Five of Cups shields his face to cover his grief. 5 cups are present, but 3 are tipped over with the wine spilling out. He sees only what is lost, what cannot be regained. Even though he could return to the castle where he would find home and security, he does not allow himself to see that, nor will he acknowledge that 2 cups remain full. He has the option to stay immersed in despair, or to take up the cups that wait to offer him comfort. And then the Six of Pentacles. Philanthropy, charitable, magnanimity. The reversed is conditional charity, debts, and stingy. The Six of Pentacles shows an elegantly dressed, wealthy man. He holds a balanced scale in his left hand to demonstrate fairness and equality. With the other hand, he's giving money to beggars. This card illustrates the good that can be done with abundance to help the less fortunate. Society's stability is strengthened when well-to-do individuals share the bounty. Okay. Now, between these two, we have the Six of Cups. So there's memory here. Between kind of bridging this, lush enjoyment and feeling of security and prosperity with this feeling of loss, we bridge it with youth, nostalgia, childhood innocence. Reversed, haunted by the past, old hurts, being trapped by memories. 6 cups filled with greenery and white flowers are depicted on the Six of Cups. The scene shows a young boy offering a cup to a smaller child. Together, they bring back memories of joyful connections with loved ones. A man in the background walks toward the house, which symbolizes comfort and security. Now, Dee and I know this. These cards have got it. They've got it going on. So, memories, and now between the loss and the card of charity, we have the Six of Swords. And I also want to look at that as more, the next level down. Memory and This is safe passage, escape, difficult transition. Reversed is unable to move, postponements, regrets. A woman and child escape with the help of the boatman in the Six of Swords. New lands can be seen ahead, but the woman mourns for what she leaves behind. The child she cradles represents new beginnings and a more promising future ahead. The 6 swords that point toward the water show that this passage comes from her rational mind rather than her heart. Now, I want to say the writing from Arwen Lynch here, everything gets mentioned. You know, these images were chosen specifically by the artist who took time to include, you know, what was vital to include, and Arwen takes the time to mention each of those things and tell us why they're there. This is like instantly one of my favorite texts because of that. All right. And then we have the 5 of Swords. Interesting. Upright is winning without honor, conflict, and Pyrrhic victory. I should know what that means, and I can't bring it to mind. Reversed is rejection, suspension, backstabber. In the 5 of Swords, a haughty young man turns his back on those enemies he's just defeated. Perhaps they were once friends, but now he owns all the swords. He cannot see that this battle is not over. His world is represented by the cloudy, ominous sky, which is a portent for trouble yet to come. Let's take some hits on that. We've got the 10 of Pentacles. And we have, thank you, our first major, we have the Star. That's what I was looking for, is we didn't have a major in this reading yet. We had 2 Pentacles, 2 Swords, 2 Cups. No Wands. Okay, so here we go to, if you want to take a breakdown, we have an equal number of Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. No Wands, which says what this is not about is the creative, your creative expression and your passions and you know, what you have to contribute to the world. Not at all. Not at all about that. It is equally about your resources, the foundation under your feet, the emotional process that you're going through, and the transition that you're going through. The 5 of Swords can talk about abuse of power, and this as the outcome, I'm not connecting with that. I'll leave that to you. But let's look at what we took as hits here. We have, pardon me, the 10 of Pentacles, accomplishment, security, goals achieved, you know, coming down from the 9 like that. And the reverse is robbery, gambling, and misfortune. They're very specific. The keywords are very, very pointed and specific. I love it. The 10 of Pentacles shows a mature gentleman surrounded by those he loves. He watches his family and dogs who remind him of the bounty in his life. The Pentacles show that there are enough resources for all. This card reminds that what we each seek in terms of wealth, security, and memorable accomplishment is reachable. And then the Star. The Star at the end. So it says that, you know, while you are transitioning through troubled waters, and this talks about being on your way, on that journey through troubled waters, the 5 says that, you know, as you know, it's certainly not over. And so there's it really is about the journey. And I'm thinking too, with this card being about power, and look at how he's kind of looking up this way, looking up that way. So I want to say and I mean, you know these things, but I want to say anyway, not to try to push that process, because you can't. Even if you feel like, you know, I've got all the swords and I'm going to do this, and, you know, so you can't go through it by force of will. You know, it has a will of its own. So, all right, the Star. Aspire, yearn, hope. Reverse is false desire, mistrust, and false hope. A woman with 2 vases full of water in her hands kneels on the bank of a river. One foot is firmly planted on the ground while the other is in the water. It's kind of awkward position she's in. Anyway, the grounded foot shows her earthy nature, while the other points to her emotional depths. 5 streams break out on the dry land. These represent the 5 senses. The chakras are shown in the 7 smaller stars just behind her. The large star is a call to rediscover your own true purpose. So I don't know that I have much to add to that. I mean, in general, we have loss. If we are enjoying prosperity, we certainly want to look at how we can help and who we would want to help. Memories can certainly help us move through difficult situations, but we don't want to try to be a tyrant over our emotions, because this 5, look at the 5s echoing each other. Look at the 6s echoing each other. Wow. So 5s here really are about strife, and it says we cannot replace this, the emotional turmoil with like an intellectual force of will, or, a force of mind to not be where we are. And that there is always hope, that the abundance is, can be enjoyed by ourselves, but it's multiplied when we can enjoy it with others. And the star says, keep your eyes, pinned on your star, your lucky star, and things get through. I am back after having to bail out of this video to wrap things up. And I'll tell you why. When I started shooting this, I had a flash of having the recording running and getting a phone call with bad news, and having, catching my reaction to that. Well, that just happened. My husband and son were just in a car accident. They are okay. Of course, very shaken up, and our car has been totaled. So, damn. Anyway, there's always hope. Like this if you liked it, subscribe if you can. I'm out of here. I will see you next time. Please send us some good energies. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you next time. Blessed be.